They called Africa weak. Then Shaka Zulu rose, and history was never the same. Before the British Empire marched inland, before the redcoats and rifle crossed the valleys of southern Africa, there was already a storm with a name, Shaka Zulu. Give me your ear. In the early 19th century, southern Africa was a land shaped by cattle, clans and tradition. Communities were small, power was local, chiefs ruled by influence, not by absolute authority. Wars were short, symbolic and rarely aimed at a total destruction. Balance existed, but it was fragile. That balance was about to be shattered. Around 1787, a child was born into rejection, illegitimate, unwanted, mocked by his own people. His name was Shaka, the son of a minor chief named Senzanga Koma and a woman named Nandi. Driven into exile with his mother, Shaka learned suffering before strength, hunger before honor, pain before power. Those early wounds hardened him. They taught him that survival demanded strength, and strength demanded change. Among the Ntetwa people, under the leadership of King Dengi Suwayo, Shaka found refuge, but more than refuge, he found purpose. He observed how power worked, he studied discipline, he trained harder than others, fought smarter and listened more than he spoke. He was patient. When his father died, Shaka did not beg for leadership, he seized it. With Dengi Suwayo's support, he became chief of the small Zulu clan. Then fate intervened. Dengi Suwayo was captured and killed by the Zwide, a powerful Ndwandwe ruler. Many expected the region to fall into chaos. Instead, Shaka rose, and followed was not an ordinary war. Shaka did not merely fight battles. He transformed the warfare itself. He destroyed the old traditions and limited conflict. He replaced the long throwing spear with a short deadly stabbing weapon known as the Ekwa. Combat was no longer distant, it was close, personal, final. Warriors trained relentlessly. They marched barefoot until their feet hardened. Weakness was crushed, discipline was absolute. Loyalty was no longer to family or loyal chiefs, but to the king alone. On the battlefield, Shaka unleashed a terrifying formation, the horns of bull. One force pinned the enemy in one place, while two fast-moving flanks wrapped them around from both sides. Escape became impossible. Defeat became certain. Victory followed victory. Kingdoms fell. Resistance collapsed. As Shaka expanded, fear spread across the land. Defeated communities fled in all directions, pushing into a new territories and displacing others. Those displaced groups attacked again, creating waves of violence and migration. This period became known as the Mfecane, the crushing. Southern Africa was reshaped by fire and movement. Old societies vanished, new ones rose. Leaders like Nzulikazi carried Shaka's military system far beyond Zululand, founding new kingdoms in distant lands. The region would never be the same again. Yet, even as Shaka ruled with iron authority, another force was quietly growing at the southern coast, the British Empire. In 1806, British took permanent control of the Cape Colony. From there, imperial ambition looked inland. The empire sought land, trade routes, order and control. European settlers expanded. African independence increasingly stood in their way. During Shaka's lifetime, Europeans arrived, not as conquerors, but as visitors. British traders and adventurers stood before Zulu King, shocked by his presence. They expected a barbarian, they found a ruler. Shaka questioned them endlessly about guns, ships, and distant lands. He was curious but never submissive. He trusted no foreign power with his kingdom. Firearms interested him, but discipline and numbers remained his true weapons. To British, Shaka was both fascinating and terrifying, proved that Africa was not empty land, but land defended by powerful states. In 1828, betrayal struck within. Shaka was assassinated by his own half-brothers. The king fell, but the kingdom did not. The system he built survived him. The army endured. The Zulu Kingdom remained strong, centralized and feared. Under later rulers, it faced new enemies. First the Boer settlers during the Great Trek, and eventually the British themselves. As decades passed, British officials grew uneasy. An independent Zulu state, armed and disciplined, stood as a threat to colonial stability in Natal. The empire believed such power could inspire resistance across the region. Confrontation became inevitable. In 1879, long after Chaka's death, the British attacked Zululand. They expected an easy victory. They believed technology would guarantee success. They were wrong. At the Battle of Isandlwana, Zulu warriors overwhelmed and destroyed a modern British force. The world was stunned. An African army that defeated an empire. Shaka Zulu never fought the British himself, but every warrior who charged, every formation that closed in, every tactic that struck fear into imperial ranks came from him. One man, one vision. British expansion would eventually overcome the Zulu Kingdom through industrial might and endless resources, but it will never erase Shaka's legacy. His life proved that Africa was not passive, not weak, not waiting to be ruled. Before empire came with flags and rifles, Africa was already shaping its own destiny. Don't say you did not learn something new from me today. We don't do that here. Like this video, comment, share and subscribe if you want to see me again.